Hello, everybody. Always forget to press that button. I must get better at that. Anyway, so welcome. It looks like a few people here. So welcome to Thursday, an exciting day today, because tonight, midnight, probably a little bit before, the doors to the Academy are going to be open. So I know I've had lots of messages from people asking about the date and everything else. So exciting times. So look, for you, those of you who don't know me, I'm Carl Thomas. I am the owner and founder of Beyond the Lens Academy, as well as Carl Thomas Photography, which you can see on my little shirt here, probably. So Carl Thomas Photography is a dog photography business I set up nearly 6 years ago now, 5.5 years ago. Frankly, it's a bit of a hobby, and then the journey's occurred, and so we are where we are now, and continuing to go with nearly 30,000 people that are following the page, and lots of very happy customers, and a very rewarding and exciting business. So, what is Beyond the Lens Academy, and why have I set it up? So let me just put in the comments here the website address, which I know is on the Facebook page, but it's always easier for you guys to see it on here. Beyond the Lens Academy.com. That looks like it's right. That's a website, so all the information's there. And tonight you will be able to join. So that's good. So why did I set it up? And it's kind of partly as a result of my sort of photography journey, which is obviously ongoing. You never get to a point where you're done. Certainly I don't think so anyway. So I went on various different workshops. I watched more YouTube videos than I care to think about. I signed up to various different online platforms and things like that. All very good. Face-to-face workshops, done lots of different things. All very good. Some of it not as good as others, but most of it, helps. But one thing that is very consistent with it is it's not all in one place, and it's also delivered by different people. So you've got different styles of delivery and therefore a different learning experience. And so what I wanted to do when we set up the Academy, which is an online training and support platform for photographers at every level, whether you're a beginner or an amateur or a pro, and I'll come on to a little bit more about that in a second, is to have somewhere where it is exactly that. So you can join. If all you've got is a smartphone, and I say that because some of these smartphones are pretty good now, or you've just got your first DSLR or mirrorless camera or a 4/3 camera or bridge camera, whatever it is, and you want to get off auto, you can join the Academy as a beginner, and you can start your process of getting more involved in your photography and finding out more about it and learning those skills and falling in love with it, which a lot of people have been doing in lockdown. And grow up all the way through it if you want to. So we have people who've joined as a beginner and have now in the pro aspiring pro area, and in fact have set up businesses in recent months and earning a nice living from that, which is great. So there's 3 levels, and so that's partly why I wanted. I'd have one place for all levels of photography, and obviously lots of content. So we've got going on 100 videos in there now in the various different levels, and that's being added to, and I'll come on to that in a sec. Added to on a daily basis. I'm doing one later today. So there's 4 or 5 a week getting added to that, and so it's not just videos. There's all sorts of other resources in there. But it's a very, very encouraging and supportive place to be. But also it's a feedback loop. Once you're part of the Academy, you're amongst a group of photographers at all levels that are all like-minded. So everybody's helping everybody and everybody's supporting everybody. So let me just tell you about some of the things that are in it. Now, obviously, if you go to the website at the moment, you won't be able to join, but I'll be switching that on at midnight at 12:01. So we're open for 3 days, and I'll explain why that is the case in a second. In reality, it might be a little bit earlier because we've got so much going on at the moment. But on the website, there's a section like this, about a third of the way down, which it details all of the different features that are available for the different levels. And we've got an annual membership and a monthly membership with no tie-in, and that applies to each of those levels. Obviously, you can't join that at the moment. But let me just walk through some of the things that I won't go through all of it. It's your lunchtime potentially, so we'll try and keep this brief and to the point, and I'll get on to sort of tips and techniques, which is largely what I like to do these things for. So if you've got anything you want to ask about photography, about the Academy, about a camera, or anything you might think about doing, drop it in the comments and I'll answer that in a short while. So we have a direct message facility. This is quite an important thing to point out, because right now, and certainly over the last few months, there has been an explosion of online businesses businesses going online, which is great, really exciting, because it's an opportunity for people to maintain livelihoods and generate income. But in the photography world, there's obviously a lot, and always have been a lot of content like that, and there's plenty of other people that do offer online training. But what a lot of them do are you'll go along and you subscribe and you pay whatever you pay, and you get access to a series of videos and very good content, and I've used quite a lot of them over the years. And it might be 10 or 20 videos or whatever it might be, but that's it. You'll watch those through. You might be able to email the owner of that business and ask a question possibly, but that's it. It's very one-dimensional. What we do in the academy is a really lively, organic group, and there's all sorts going on. And I'll come on to what that is in more detail. But one of the important things is there's a direct message facility. So I'm available for all of our members at any time. People message me all the time. And it doesn't matter what time of day, and it's all weekends as well, because especially on the amateur and professional side of things, whatever problem or challenge you've got doesn't happen on a Wednesday or a Tuesday. It happens when it happens. So I need to be available. Have a look at if you're watching this on the Beyond the Lens Academy Facebook page, and if not, go and have a look at it and have a look at the reviews, which will be at the top somewhere. You'll see what people are saying about the academy in relation to that. So we've got a private Facebook group, which is really good sort of community, lots of like-minded people in there, skills of all levels, sharing advice, sharing skills, asking questions, sharing images. We've got an online learning modules. You'd expect that, wouldn't you? But this is where there's a difference. This is why I'm going to pause on this a minute, if that's okay with you, just to say, of course we've got online learning modules because we're an online training support platform, but they are different in that we record them live. So if, for example, and they're done, and there's nearly 100 on in the academy at the moment, but every week I'm adding 5 or 10 to that about different subjects. So say I was doing one at the moment, did one the other about lens ball photography, and what's the best kind of lens ball to get, the techniques to use it, how you do your settings, all those kind of things. About half an hour long, really interesting actually, a lot of feedback from that one. But I record them live, so members can come along, a bit like you are today. Obviously, it's all done inside the system, so it wouldn't be public. It's only for members, and then come along. And whilst it's being recorded, it's like a webinar. I'll be getting interaction from members, and they'll be asking me questions. And so, Carl, can you so what's the difference between that size ball and this size ball, or what aperture should I use? And what that does is it makes it more interesting for members, which is frankly really important to me. But it makes it a little bit more organic, a little bit more interactive. And then when that's finished, it's recorded, checked by all the team, and then uploaded into the library. So it'll appear in your library as a playback. So if you haven't been able to make the live, then that's fine. You can watch the playback. But the playback then has got all those interaction and comments on it. And I think it makes it more interesting. And also, where those videos are hosted within the membership, there's the ability to continue to comment. So I regularly, every day, I get tons of little comments. Carl, I watched this video on that. What, can you just clarify that for me? Or could we have this? Or what about that as an idea? Really important. So I know I spend a bit of time on it, but so when you see this, don't just think pre-recorded videos. They're very interactive, which is good. We've got a mobile app. What can I say? Everybody's got those these days, and we have, and it's very good. And it means you can access to all your library and content on the go, as well as watch webinars and anything we're doing on the go. And I've just touched on the webinars. I mean, there's a couple of 3 different formats. So there'll be webinars aimed at beginners, aimed at amateurs, and aimed at the aspiring pro level. So they're very specific on specific subjects. There's also ones that are generated in the hub. So if you join at any level, there's 2 things you get access to. So if you join as a beginner, you get the beginner portfolio and all your stuff in there, and that's getting added to regularly, as well as a thing called the hub, which goes across everybody. Everybody's got access to that, and that's got content in that goes across, because not everything is relevant to just beginners or just amateurs or just pros. Some stuff in photography, editing, for example, or some of the focus techniques are relevant for everybody. So there's a thing called the hub, but what then happens is, in terms of format, so there's individual specific ones. There'll be one that might be generic, that covers everybody, and then there's what's called a freestyle format, where I go live. I've got one, I think it might be later today actually, where I go live and we just let all the members come along and ask questions, and we just have a really good interactive half an hour, 40 minutes conversation about photography and questions, and I'm led by what the members want. Now, the other thing we've changed recently, if you join as a beginner, you get access to the beginner membership and these webinars, as well as the hub. Everybody gets the hub. If you join as an amateur, you get the amateur and the beginners. So there's another library of content. If you join as a aspiring pro, you get access to everything. So makes sense. Right, new gear reviews. This is quite popular at the moment. There's so much new technology coming out. So, I'm constantly updating people with that. Group image critiques. Did one last night. And so the format behind that, and this is all about this organic, live, sort of interactive membership, as opposed to just being something you log on and watch. So what we do is I set a theme, and the theme is normally, so this last night was autumn and or water was the theming. Members then have the ability to log into our system. They upload usually a couple of images. Often it's the before image and the edited image. It doesn't have to be. So for beginners who are not editing, they can just upload 2 along the lines of that theme. That then gets, and we do that over a few weeks to give time for people time to take photos and stuff. That gets uploaded and put together in a presentation, all helped with the team here. And then I go live, which I did 7 o'clock last night. And I go through it all like a presentation of all those images, and I'll give a critical analysis. So all the members can watch and they interact and ask comments and say what they think and all that kind of stuff, which is really useful. Because feedback as a photographer, at whatever level you're at, is a really important thing. Because on the basis of photography is generally can be quite a lonely thing. You know, if you're a wildlife photographer, you're up in a mountain somewhere trying to get mountain hares, which we'll be doing in Scotland. I'll talk about that in a minute. You know, the feedback loop is slightly limited. You might get some response on Facebook, and you might get something from your mates, but we're quite keen to make sure that is a much more productive part of what we do in the academy, and we seem to be ticking that box. So I'll go through and give what's called critical analysis. So it's not just me saying that's a nice image. It'll be me saying that's a really good image because technically why it is. What is it about that image and the way it was taken is making it stand out. And the same for images that are less positive. And so this image could have been improved if you change this or maybe do that. So it's really, really valuable. Our members absolutely love it. So we've got, what's the theme that we're doing now? So the next one is macro and close-up stroke macro photography. So that's going to be fun. Right, what else we got? Let's have a look. Monthly one, just check the comments. So don't forget, if you've got any comments or questions, drop them in the comments and I'll get to those in a sec. We've just done the month. Yeah, so the image critique reviews, we can do that on an individual basis as well. So that's usually where people have got, you know, where maybe you might be an amateur and you just like your portfolio, maybe you might be sharing on Instagram, and we can help make sure that is stand out. But if you're a pro, aspiring pro, that's often about your own portfolio, which is about your business and what you're sharing with the world. And so that's very, very popular. And then just a couple more things before I start showing images and things. Monthly, choose your subject once or now. This is a really important thing. I wanted to spend a little bit of time on this. So if you join the academy, one of the first things you'll get at whatever level, you log on, you see all your content, you can start watching it instantly, and have a look around and all that, which is always quite exciting. But there's a member profile form, so you fill that out online, and I will then do a one-to-one. So I do a one-to-one, normally lasts about an hour, with every single person that joins this academy, irrespective of what level. And that's an hour, so we can talk about techniques and settings and any questions you might have. So it's a good opportunity to do that. But what the overriding objective with it is to meet each member personally, which I think is important because it's a very hands-on academy, but also they understand from the profile form and the conversation, why did you join the academy? What kind of camera have you got? Where do you see yourself going with your photography journey? What do you want to get out of the academy? You know, is it just getting off auto, or do you really want to master editing? Are you thinking about setting up a business? What's holding you back? What other courses have you done? Really understanding in depth about every single member. It takes a lot of time and resource, but it's really important, something I'm passionate about, because it allows me then to make sure, from a point of view of the content we deliver it every day of the week, actually, at the moment, in terms of new webinars and various other things we're adding to the academy, that we're doing things that our members are keen to find out about. Now, sure, you know, for example, if you take somebody who's a beginner, there's going to be quite a logical step of sequence of things that would be useful to learn about. But quite often there are things that come out of the conversations I have with you know, new members and think, actually, yeah, that's quite useful. Let's do a webinar about that. So we're very responsive to what our members are wanting. And I'm constantly making sure, as a result of knowing what they want, that we're ticking that box, making sure everybody's getting what they want from it. Then last, before I get on and talk about some other more interesting things, really, I suppose. So workshops. So there's 2 formats that we're running at the moment. Well, we're not actually right now because of the lockdown, but the discounted photography workshops, if you remember, you get 25% off, or this applies only to the 2-day workshops that I run in Stratfield Say, which is south of Reading, north of Basingstoke, on the Wellington estate. And that's a combination of theory and hands-on photography. Very, very popular. We might try and get one in December because the November one's been moved, but it all depends. We'll have to wait and see. But we'll be launching all the dates for those fairly soon. So they're very popular. But the other sort are sort of wildlife and landscape and general all-round photography workshops. And so what do they look like? We've got two weeks in Islay at the moment. Let me just show you some pictures. So these are not your normal, this is where we're going to be staying, in the Outer Hebrides, or it's in Hebrides, Islay is, and these are the private cottages in the estate. So that's a 37-acre estate, an absolutely beautiful cottage. We've got the whole lot. And so the first week of that sold out. The second week is almost full up now. It's in June. You'll see it all on the website. So there's a few places left. So if that's something that's interesting you, let me know. But in terms of the format, and we've got the same thing in Scotland. So in Scotland, we're going to be doing, you know, these sort of things. You know, snow hares. These are things that we were doing in Islay. And this is the house we're staying in Scotland. It is, you know, proper standards. So in the academy, we don't do anything by halves. It's all done properly. These are all fully catered. So all you've got to do is bring your camera equipment, and we work with everybody to make sure they've got whatever it is they need. You can be a beginner or a pro or anywhere in the middle, because it's a small group on each of these workshops. We have time for hands-on sort of one-to-one stuff. So we'll be out and about during each day looking for specific wildlife and getting those lovely photos that everybody always wants to get, landscapes and other kind of photography. But then in the evenings, apart from having a nice hearty meal and maybe a glass or two of wine, we do some more learning. So I'll be doing sort of not overly formal presentations, but I might be talking about editing on one evening. I might be talking about getting sharper images on another evening. I might be doing a one-to-one with one of the members. And these are run with a very good friend of mine, Alan Ward, who's a published and very well-known wildlife photographer and videographer. So they're great fun. So that's the workshops, and those are available. The Scotland one's got some space on it, not much. First week sold out almost in a few days. So if you're interested in something like that, let me know. We'll go to the website and just drop me a message, because you'll be able to see all the information there. Right, let me just switch that banner off. So I'll get, let's see if there's comments or questions. No, there's no questions yet. This is fine. But if you've got anything you want to know, let me know. What else? So let me just tell you a little bit about the structure of the academy, because people sort of say to me, they get confused. And I've had a lot of messages saying, when are you opening? When are you opening? So a lot of people are quite keen to join over the next 3 days. So we open at midnight tonight. Frankly, probably a bit more earlier than that, hopefully about 8, 9 o'clock, to be honest, because we've got other things we're doing. But anyway, we'll be opening tonight. And so everything on the website stays exactly the same, except for those 2 lines where it says beginner, amateur, or pro. When it says take me to the membership page, at the moment it takes you to a holding page with a countdown timer. That will change. It will take you to the actual page, which has got all the information in there anyway. Little 1-minute video from me about that section, and then the ability to join monthly, annually, with no tie-in. So that's kind of the structure of how you join the academy. But the reason we are only open for 3 days is what's called a closed membership. And the reason we do this is we are, frankly, obsessive about supporting our members. And I know I keep saying it, but have a look at the reviews, wherever they are on this video. They'll be up the top there somewhere, on the Beyond the Lens Academy Facebook page. Just see what members are saying. We spend, and we are, overly supportive of all our members at whatever level. It's really important to us. And so when we open the doors this weekend for 3 days, or Friday into Sunday, there'll be a raft of new members coming in. I do a one-to-one with everybody. And then we start doing one-to-ones at different levels and stuff. And so that takes time and resource, and that's important. That's what people pay to become a member for. So if it was what they call an open membership, I'd be doing a lot more marketing and spending my time looking the other way, and I'm spending time with the members. So of course we have to do marketing, which is what we're doing right now. That's what I'm telling you about. But we do it a number of times a year. We're opening until Sunday, midnight. We might try and get one in before Christmas, given the situation and everything else. But, we'll see. And then the other thing is that one question that people keep asking me, and it's quite a good one, actually, is Christmas going to be different? But can I buy a membership of the academy as a Christmas present for a friend? And the question is absolutely yes. All you need to do is drop me a message, let me know, and we're going to have a conversation about what level of membership is appropriate for the person you're going to buy the membership for. We'll sort out the transaction, get that done, and then there'll be a special voucher with all some detail, all tailored with the person's name and everything else on, to give them that on the day, and then I get them set up on the academy. So that's all very doable. So let me just tell you. So let's have a look at some images. Let me see if there's any comments. No comments. We're all a bit quiet today. Right. So if you're, let's start with amateurs, shall we? So the kind of things we do, excuse me, for amateurs, wildlife photography. This is something we were doing in Islay quite a lot of. These are sort of things like this. There's a pretty rare, what's called a crested tit, Schedule 1 bird. Salmon leaping up and in the water. So all these things are the kind of things that we do for amateurs. There's lots of amateurs, quite a wide gamut, because it's not just wildlife. I mean, I think I just showed that picture. It's landscapes. It's working in black and white. It's creative photography. There was my other Islay picture. Bear in mind, it's here somewhere. I keep moving my pictures around. I'll stop doing this. There we go. There it is. That's actually an Islay around the corner from the cottage. But we work on all of the different things, and obviously it's quite an individual service, because amateurs can be at very different levels. But broadly, it's landscapes, wildlife photography, street photography, motocross, sports. I mean, it's quite a range, and so we help and support all the members with those kind of things. Now, if you join as a beginner, for example, what might you be doing in a beginner? And I can tell you that one of the most popular things, some of the stuff we just talked about there, because some of the beginners are quite a lot more advanced than perhaps they think. In fact, that's the case with most photographers. They're usually a lot better than they think they are. But a beginner, this is probably one of the most popular questions I get asked about. getting off the auto setting. I've got a camera, I use it, but how do I get off auto? And so we help and get people past that in the academy by helping them understand what you need to do with your camera when you get off auto in order to be able to take those sort of images you have in your mind, but they're not coming out when you're using the camera. It might be an action shot, it might be a composition. So we spend quite a lot of time on that. One of the things that we would talk about, for example, is the exposure triangle here. And that's all about managing the process, so understanding aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, and those are all important things. On auto, the camera does it for you, but the minute you want to come off of auto, you need to understand their levers that you're getting control of, and what do they do? What is aperture, what is shutter speed? So we spend a lot of time in detail on that. And one of the things, again, look at the reviews that people will tell you. I've got a very simplistic approach to photography in terms of I like to keep things really simple and explain things in a way that people understand, as opposed to being overly technical. And that's going down really well in the academy at the moment. So I'm helping people move their photography forward much faster than perhaps they would have originally thought. So it's quite exciting. So what else? If you join as a pro aspiring pro, now, because one of the things that I didn't mention on the one-to-ones, so everybody gets a one-to-one when we join. Amateurs have them, once a month, typically is what they're looking for. Do more if they need to. And the pro aspiring pro level is unlimited. Now, we are going to be changing that because I want to make sure I can continue with the amount of members that we've got in the academy now, continuing offering that service. So right now that's available. So from tonight, you can log on and join and you get that access. But it is literally unlimited. And I'll just say it again, it's unlimited. So when you go and log on and see the prices, and just to give you a flavor, pro aspiring pro is, what's that? Not even £3 a day. It's next to nothing on the basis that you could come and speak to me every day, each week on a live one-to-one for an hour. Extraordinary values. This is what the finance team is saying. Either put the price of it up massively, Carl, or stop doing it. Anyway, I'm doing it at the moment. But the other thing to look at that is, or think about with that is, we've got a number of members who are beginners or amateurs who've gone up to that, not necessarily because they want to set up a business, whether it's part-time or as a hobby or full-time, but because the unlimited one-to-one access is useful. And some people learn better by having a conversation with me directly with their camera, and they'll be going, or their lens, and go, Carl, I've got this lens, this button here, how best to do that? And we can literally, and quite often go through, I'll have different cameras here, and we're going through the back of the camera saying, change that setting, do this, and so on. So that's a really important part to point out. Now, if you're a pro aspiring pro and you've got a business or you're setting up a business, we've got members. One of our members went live a week ago. He's got nearly 400 people following him and getting bookings. Another member went live 2-3 months ago. Multi-thousand-pound orders coming in, and it's all about how we help our members get to that. Now, I've been doing this for 5-6 years. I've got a very large, fast-growing, successful business, and I share everything in the academy, especially for the pros in terms of that. So there's no secrets, nothing held back. So if you are thinking about setting up a business or starting to earn money from your business, even if it's just on a part-time basis, you need to think about joining the academy, because I can help you transform that thought process into reality in a relatively short space of time. It's not something you do overnight, but in say a month or so, if you say, right, I want to go live in January, very doable. I've got quite a few members at the moment that are doing that. But the sort of stuff we talk about in that level is, social media. It is a minefield. So if we take Facebook, for example, boosted posts, Facebook ads, what is the difference? How should I do either? When should I do either? How do I actually do a good advertising campaign? What are the tips and techniques to do with that? So we cover that in some detail. Another example will be, getting customers. How do we manage leads? Where do I get them from? How do I manage them and turn them into prospects? And how do I turn them into happy customers that are getting the service they want, as well as it being sustainable for my business, so to speak. So that's a really important part of what we do. So let me just see, no comments, no questions? No, that's fine. So let me just show you some pictures then. We're doing for 26 minutes. So I like to try and keep this to sort of half an hour, 40 minutes or so, because I'm conscious it's your lunchtime. And obviously, if you're watching the recording and the playback, that's brilliant. Right. So let's just look at some of the images. So for example, on something like this, is that a hello? Is that a question? Oh, here we go. Is the Canon 650D outdated now? I've been lazy and only used my iPhone cap. That's a good question. It's been around a while, but it doesn't mean it's no good. And let me demonstrate. I'll show you. That's a really good question, Andrew. Thanks for that. I'll show you something about this right now. So here's a lovely wildlife shot. So just finish on this one a minute. So this is a couple of thousandths of a second shutter speed, shot at f2.8. And overexposing slight is a really important thing. So if you overexpose a little bit, you're going to get more detail in the bird's fur. So, right, let me just switch that one off a minute. Now, to answer in a roundabout way the question just come up, let me show you a picture here of leaping salmon. Really quite hard to do. If I can find it. Here we go. There it is. Right. So this is a shot on the wildlife workshop we did, wildlife and landscape workshop in October, which is wonderful. We had, I think, 6 of us up there, so it's a small group. We went off and did this. Now with Alan Ward, who's the sort of fountain of knowledge when it comes to salmon. So on this particular image, yes, I use my Canon 1DX, and I've got a really good lens, but it's a tripod. It's a manual focus, manual camera settings, and using a shutter release. And as you can see, it's a competition winner, so I was able to win a competition with that image, just stand out, which is great. So he's sitting there with this. Now, some people go, oh yeah, that's really good, Carl, but my camera won't do it. Now on the wildlife workshop, here's another one, for example. There's another salmon, look, slightly different angle, quite like it with the tail flicking up. But if you look at that image, outstanding, nice and sharp, nice composition. That's shot with one of my beginner members on a Canon 70D. And I was there helping with the settings and, working out. So the point I'm making, to the question you asked, is don't stress if a camera's outdated. One of the things that I do in the academy is, we help people get the most out of whatever camera they got, and that shows you from that salmon image that even with 70D is, I can't remember, I think it's about 5 or 6 years old. So it's and it's a relatively entry-level camera, but with the right settings and the right help, standout image. And that's one of the things that I do a lot of in the academy. People often say to me, oh, Carl, because they join the academy, whatever level, and they get immersed in what we're doing, and they start wanting to use their camera more, which is a big part of what we do and why we do it, which we're pleased about. But the next thing that happens is, oh yeah, I'm thinking about upgrading, and just your question really. And so what I often do when that happens is I'll either have a conversation online, as in iMessage or whatever it is, or I just say let's have a one-to-one and have a conversation, because it's really important if you're thinking about changing your camera, whether it's format or lens or whatever it is, that you get what you need, not what you think you want. And there is quite often a big difference, because it's a minefield, and there's new stuff coming out all the time. So I'm quite keen to make sure people, if they want to upgrade, that they actually need to. And I've had quite a fair few members come to me saying, "No, I want to get a new camera," and actually don't need to. So it's like, save the money. Occasionally, it would make sense to upgrade. It all depends. So that's a good question. So I appreciate that. Let's put that back up on the screen again. Where's my comments? Because yeah, it's but the iPhone or smartphones, that's one thing we're doing in the academy. We're launching a sort of a smartphone series of modules, because that's really popular. I mean, I can show you some pictures. I think if I got here, let's have a look. Bear with me. So Badger, one of my Springer Spaniels. There we go. Nice and sharp, nice black background. And often when I put that on Facebook, I'll get people messaging me going, oh, what settings was that? What camera was it? That's done with the iPhone. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Andrew. Right, let me go back to comments. So what else? How are we doing? So it's half an hour. Let me just see if there's anything else, any more comments. Doesn't look like there are. So look, I won't take up too much more of your time because it's lunchtime. So thanks for coming on. Thanks, Andrew, for that question. I'm back live again. Let me just check. It's all on the Facebook page, because we're opening the doors tonight for new members, which everybody's really excited about. I'm going live. Oh, actually, tonight I'm doing one at 8 o'clock. So if you're watching this and you suddenly thought, do you know what, there's a few more questions, come back at 8. The reason I'm doing it at 8 o'clock is because quite a lot of people are at work during the day, whether they're working from home or not, and it's difficult to join these things. So, and they're free, so come along. And then tomorrow, I think I've got 3 tomorrow. There's one at 9 o'clock, one at midday, and then one about 4, I think. So kind of a bit mad. So if you're interested in that, if you're thinking about joining the academy, but it's maybe not right for you right at the moment, just get yourself on the mailing list, because if you go onto the website, there's a box you can tick that adds to the mailing list. Now, I don't spam loads of people. It's not one of my things. I hate it because I get loads myself. But what you will do as a result of being on there is you'll get notified of these free webinars, details about the workshops, and also, if we're opening an academy this weekend, if we do get one before Christmas, and I'm working with the team to see if we can structure that at the moment. But it's questionable because, as I said, one of the things we do one-to-ones everywhere that joins, and so we're really busy once we've shut the doors on Sunday night, and we do shut the doors on Sunday night. So don't you can't come to Monday and go, oh, sorry, I was late. And we're working with all those new members as well as all the existing ones. So anyway, we'll see. So yeah, get yourself on the mailing list, because that way you'll get to find out about things, which is useful. Obviously, if you follow the Beyond the Lens Academy Facebook page, that's a good idea. Like it, follow it, whatever it is that you need to do these days. But of course, even when you do that, you don't get to see all the content. Only about 10% of what gets put on there gets shown out, because that's just the way Facebook works. So that's why I recommend joining that. Now, what else have I got to say? That's kind of it, really. Membership's open tonight. It's 3 days. There's 3 levels. And the costs are, and you'll see them tonight when we've kind of pretty much finalised it, but there's one little tweak we're trying to think about at the moment. to try and add some more value, but to give you a heads up, a bit of a flavour, and just to contextualise it a little bit. So let's just start a beginner. Now, if you're a beginner, obviously that's the lowest cost membership level that we have. And what we are finding with our beginners is they're coming and getting so much more value out of their camera and photography. And I've had beginners who've gone up to the pro level and are now thinking about setting up businesses. So it can actually be quite a pivotal thing to do and join. And the cost, it's less than £1 a day. Well, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's next to nothing really in the scheme of the value you get. And if you look at the amateurs, it's just over £1 a day. So what's that? It's a £5 a week as a beginner-ish, slightly less than that probably. It probably is a bit less than that. And then, so it's a cost of a pint or a glass of wine. So if you put it in the context of what you're trying to do with your photography journey, I think it makes sense. The Pro, Aspiring Pro, don't forget there are 2 levels. You can join monthly and join annually. The annual one does have fairly significant discounts. The discounts at the moment, we're going live tonight, but I can tell you that the discount level, there is stuff that's at half price. We were going to be changing it, because we change the prices each time we open the door, because obviously we're getting more members in, and it's only right to, to sort of, if everybody's got an offer, to not keep repeating the same offer. But we have managed to sort of increase the discount levels, if that makes sense, from the price points that we're going to, and maintain it for this opening because of everything that's going on. So some of the discount levels are as much as 50%. And say you can join monthly or annually. There's no tie-in, but on the Pro one, and this is why I get so much grief from the finance team, I mentioned the unlimited one-to-ones. I've had members who join and they use that once a week. I've had members who have had to use it a couple of 3 times a week when they're just about to go live with their new business, and they're getting orders in, £500 orders, £1,000 orders, all that kind of stuff going on. Well, it's not even £20 a week. So if you put that in the context of where that might take you, on the basis is unlimited one-to-ones, even if it's just one-to-one a month, it's still good value. So, and I'm maintaining it, but I suspect the next time we open, that might be changed. So we'll keep it for all our existing members, but we might change that. So we might have to charge more for it, or back off a little bit. So we'll see. But anyway, so that's all available. So if you're interested, have a look. Christmas present opportunity is there. What else was I going to say? I think that's it, actually. Yeah, let me just check the comments. No more questions. So look, thanks for your time. Appreciate it's lunchtime, so that's why I'm trying to keep it brief for you. Obviously, the recording, you might be watching this on the recording. But if you've managed to drop in and see bits of it, the recording will be there. And I'm back later on this evening at 8. So if you want to come along, that'd be great. If you want to join the Academy, I would love to see you in the Academy. But if it's not right for you, absolutely fine. Get yourself on the mailing list and just make sure then you come along and have these little Facebook Lives that I do. Typically, when we're not opening the doors, I'll try and come on and do this once a week. And I'm quite passionate about doing it because it is quite hard as a photographer at whatever level to find an opportunity where people will be very open and honest and share everything. There's lots of places you can pay to do that, and of course you can get an Academy. But I'm happy to share tips and answer questions live free, because I just think it's important. I found it difficult to find that kind of content when I was going through the early parts of my journey, which is why I do it. So anyway, look, I will leave you in peace. Thanks very much for joining. As I say, I'd love to see you in the Academy. But if it's not right for you at the moment, then just get yourself on the mailing list, because then you won't miss out. And take it easy. Have a good day. See you later. Bye.